y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Robin, and today I'm doing the last 10 books tag. I was tagged by Jess the Book Freak, and I will have her video and the original down below. And so I'm kind of trying to catch up on things I've been tagged in. And here we go. First question. The last book you didn't finish. That was A Reunion of Ghosts by Judith Claire Mitchell, some variation of that. I didn't finish it because I was bored, honestly. I thought it was going to be about ghosts and spooky things, family secrets. And it was about family. And I guess there were ghosts because it was like the ghosts of people past, but it was not what I wanted. It was actually kind of boring. And so it reminded me a lot of the Virgin Suicides. I talk about it a little bit in my September reading vlog, so if you want to go check that out, but DNF'd it. The last book you reread, and I honestly do not reread books a lot, even if they're my all-time favorites. I don't know why. I just feel like there's so many books to read. I'm never gonna read them all in my lifetime. So like, do I have the time to go back and reread the ones I love? Maybe. But the last book I did reread was Death by George Pendle. It's one of my favorites. And it tells the story. It's the memoir of death. It's not everyone's cup of tea. In fact, it's a very not well-known book at all. It's an obscure thing I found in the library one day, and then I ended up loving it. But I reread that last October for Game of Tomes mini round, and I just loved it. Again, will I reread something again in the future? Maybe. We'll find out. The last book you bought. The last book I bought was Fairy Tale by Stephen King. Although it was a pre-order, so was that technically the last book that I bought? It was the last book that I bought and received. I don't know if that counts as the last book that I bought, but if we're going by like the last, thank you, Blair. If we're going by like the last actual book I the last actual book that I bought, it was probably The Secret Lives of Church Girls. I bought that in like August? I don't know. You'll know in my last episode of Bookends. You can go check that out and see that it doesn't really matter what the last book I bought was because I buy way too many of them. The last book you said you read but you didn't. I don't know what that book was. Probably something that I was supposed to read for school and then I didn't. I don't typically lie about having read a book or not. Either I read it or I didn't. Or maybe I started it and then I DNF'd it. What's the point in lying? But like I said, it was probably in school when I was supposed to read something and the consequences for not reading that thing were actually gonna be a problem. But if I read Spark Notes, didn't I actually read it? The last book you wrote in the margins of, and that would be Raybearer, even though I don't actually write in the margins of my books. So I have like transparent sticky notes that I put in my books so that I can write on them, and so it looks like I've written on the actual page, but I didn't. I don't know, just writing in my books, I don't like the way that it like looks in my books. I love it when other people do it, like with color coding, like highlighting stuff, and it's pretty. I just don't like it. It's just not for me. It makes me writing in the margins of my books are how people feel about cracking spines. I love a cracked spine. Give me a spine to crack and I'll crack it. A book or otherwise. But like write in the margins, no, just can't do it. The last book you had signed, none. I do not intentionally or actively go get books signed. It's just not a thing that I do. Like, is having a signed book cool? Yeah, sure. Not really my thing. It doesn't make something more or less precious to me, and so like I don't actively go out of my way to get something signed. The last book you lost, which in my adult life, none. Probably something from like my childhood, but like I don't know what that was. I don't know. I don't lose books. Now, other things, headphones, actual phones, wallets, cards, those things I've lost. But a book, nope. The last book you had to replace. For me, that was Little Women. I had like this old ratty copy that I've had since I was like a kid. And so I wanted a just a fresher copy, so I bought that, but that's probably the only book I've ever replaced. I have this one book that is just like shredded to the ground. It's in another tag video I've done. If I remember what it is, I'll link it below. But yeah, that book is beat up. I'm probably never gonna replace it. But Little Women, I need it to replace. The last book you had an argument over. None. I don't really have arguments over books. Although technically, I guess the last argument over a book I had was not technically about the book, but about the reading of the book. It was over Throne of Glass. Me and Ray go back and forth with this all the time about how I made her read that book and it was trash. In my defense, I never told her it was going to be a good book. I just wanted her to read it for my own enjoyment. Did I enjoy Throne of Glass? Yes. Is it the best book I've ever read? Absolutely not. In fact, it doesn't even really get good until like book 3. But I wanted her to read it anyway because I knew that I would love her reactions to it. And so we go back and forth on me making her read Throne of Glass all the time. So that might be a tad a little argument over a book, but not like a real argument. I don't have arguments over books. If you like it, you like it. Good for you. If I didn't like it, I didn't like it. Good for me. And the last book you couldn't get a hold of. And very random. It's a James Garfield biography because I said that I was going to continue on with my presidents. I even had a little bowl. I picked a name and it was Old Jimmy. And one, I can't figure out which biography to read. Either like there's not one that I've come across that really focuses on his entire like life in equal parts. Either it's like the very end, which is very short-lived, or just like a war maybe. And it's like, I need to know what happened at the beginning so I know how I really feel about him. I have found one that I think I want to read. I don't remember the name of it right now. And I cannot find like an audiobook that I want to buy. There's like nothing at the library because I'm not sure that I want to like have this book forever, you know what I mean? And so I'm just having a hard time finding it. One of the books that I wanted to read actually like is not in print. And then I found a copy for about $40 and I said, I think the fuck not for little old Jimmy. So yeah, stay tuned. Send good vibes that I find a version of this book that I want to read. And that's all I have for you guys today. I tag anybody who wants to do this video because I can't think of anybody in particular who has or hasn't done this tag yet. So if you haven't done this tag and you want to do this tag, go for it. Feel free. If you want to talk about any of my answers, let's chat about it in the comments below. And until next time, bye.